Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Bright early, 3:30 a.m. for me. We are watching Dean Huijsen's presentation. Of course, my camera. Look at that picture, man. Like, some people are just destined to play at this club, and the parents knew, the dad and the mom knew to put him to a Real Madrid jersey just in case for this moment. A born Madridista. Florentino Perez. What do you guys think of Number 24. I think there's probably a place. Look at this. Look, how many pictures does he have of him in a Real Madrid jersey when he was a kid? I think it's probably a placeholder in my opinion. I think it's like 24 because a lot of the squad numbers are already been taken, and we still don't know who's going to be here for the season. You know, there's going to be a lot of departures and arrivals coming in and out of the club. So probably for the Club World Cup, I see him at 24, but I definitely see as like I said, as we start finalizing our squad for the actual season in preseason, that his number will probably change. Like even for Trent that we have on Thursday, I do believe that. I mean, actually for Trent, I actually think it's gonna be number 12. I think it just kind of makes sense. It's open 6+6, so I'm kind of pushing for a Trent Alexander-Arnold 12. But even for his case, that obviously that can change as well. I didn't know his father played for Ajax. Plenty of challenges ahead. Mm-hmm. Guys, we've just signed one of the best young defenders in the world. To be honest, I watched him a little bit at Bournemouth. I heard a little bit about him like earlier in the Premier League, and then I was like, okay, let me check him out and stuff like that. I didn't really start watching him until he was probably at when he was with the national team. I think especially during that Netherlands tie in the Nations League. Man, I was like, once he got his debut and he started playing, I was like, okay, this guy's good. This last week of him playing with the Spain national team as a starter and seeing just how influential he is for that team, I'm so hyped about this. This is probably a sleeper signing for me. This kid is the real deal, and he's only 20 years old. 20 years old. He can play his entire career here, the rest of his career here, like another 10, 12, 13 years. With that amount of experience, the talent to be able to pick out a pass, he's ambidextrous, right, left, long, short, medium, progressive carries, good in recovery, good in positioning. Dude, we cooked. Whoever, I think it was Xabi Alonso who he told, Xabi Alonso told Florentino Perez that you have to sign this player, and they got it done within a week. Well done, man. Like, whoever got this deal done, well done. I will say his dad did a lot of the work, though. You know what? I will say I'm going to have to follow in his footsteps. His dad put the work in ever since he was a young kid. Got him in that jersey. Got him watching Real Madrid football at a young age. Made sure that he got a Spanish passport. Well, obviously he was born there, but I mean, you understand what I'm saying. He just made sure that, he has both of the passports, that he never locked himself. He was a nation capped with the Netherlands, just in case that this may happen. And look at him. Now he's a presentation. Presentation on June 10th. I can't wait for Trent also. The thing is with Trent, I feel like he's like cooling off on a lot of the things that he probably, like a lot of these other players are doing. Like when they get signed, they're, I'll talk about it after. Because I barely see any Trent stuff. Like I barely see any pictures from like Madrid Extra or any of the Spanish media outlets, like taking pictures of him during the national team or anything. But we can talk about that after. Football edits. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's good? What's good? Allah Madrid. Short and sweet. Short and sweet. He's chill up even on the podium. Low-key, I was expecting a little bit more, and I think a lot of people did as well. But, we move. He's 20. It's all good. Oh, we're doing the family pictures? Do you think they told him before to show the 15, or did he watch Xabi Alonso's presentation? 24, Dean Huijsen. Dean Huijsen, 24. Allah Madrid. What should Real Madrid sign next? I think we need one more midfielder and I believe we need a striker at most. I mean, are we taking a break right now? Is that what we're doing here? I'll turn that down for a little bit. But yeah, I definitely think we need to get a midfielder and a striker. I think they were kind of outlining, we just want pretty much a target striker, like a classic number 9, traditional number 9, Joselu profile. I also want to give a shout out to Joselu for having that loan stint where we literally now are calling it a Joselu profile. But essentially someone who can come off the bench to be able to help us kind of break down a lot of those low blocks that we're going to traditionally see in La Liga. So I know a lot of, at least for me, the name that I'm trying to throw out is Ante Budimir. Budimir, I think right now his release clause is about like $8 million. He's $8 million. He's like, I think he's been like in the top 4 or 5, or at least top 3 in the past few years in La Liga for the Pichichi Racing. 21 goals this year. I believe I have some of his stats up. Let's see. Let's see if I can even bring it up. We can go to Data MB right now, because right now they're just showing a bunch of Real Madrid highlights, and I'm going to probably get copyright claimed. But here, let me see. Am I signed in? Log in. Hold on, let me show you guys something real quick. Oh, can't show you that. Okay. Hello Madrid. Hello everybody. Oh yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. So if we go here, striker, let's go put this in, let's say here, goals per 100 touches. Goals per 100 touches. We're gonna go to the top 5 leagues. Right. Look at this. And regardless of age here, right? You have Stuani from Girona, 38. He's way too old, right? Sorloth, you're never going to take him away from Atletico Madrid. This would have been an ideal signing. I don't even know how much did they pay for him? Does anyone know that? Rodrigo Muniz from Fulham, 24 years old. This is a work in progress kind of signing. It'll also be for the long term. Bochum, probably not too much. Probably needs to go to a bigger club before he goes to Real Madrid. Obviously this. So my 2 favorites here are Budimir and Patrick Schick. Budimir probably is my value pick just because of how, like, I think it's 8 million. I think I read 20 or 8 or something like that. But I think the latest reports that I've seen is about an $8 million 8 million evaluation. So that's easy. 8 million, pay it. I think he even, for his wages, I don't even think he makes even 100,000 a week. I think it's closer to like 20 or something like that. 20,000 a week. So this is, for me, this is like a no-brainer. I think obviously, you know, I think I've seen like reports saying that he wants to stay there, but you know, like I said, when Real Madrid knock, it's a different kind of knock, right? So Budimir is my pick. Patrick Schick is a little bit younger. And I think in some of the underlying stats that we'll go through, I think he's even a little bit higher than Budimir. But also, like I said, Bayern Leverkusen's already losing their best player. They're losing actually quite a bit of their players. I don't know if they're willing to sell. And then we're going to have to start doing like a bidding war with other clubs who are potentially interested. They're probably going to raise the price, similar to what they're doing with Florian Wirtz. With Liverpool pretty much rejecting everything up until about like 150, like 130 plus incentives. So that's kind of where I'm at. Even Chris Wood. Probably not because EPL tax as well. But goals per 100 touches, we have Budimir at 5th. If we go here to expected goals per 100 touches, he actually shoots up. So this is, for me, this is very important, especially when it comes to, like, I don't even know I published my article yet. I haven't. But that's huge, especially because he's only going to be playing with a certain amount of minutes per game, unless, you know, we might rotate depending on the game. You know, we don't need to play Mbappe, we don't need to play Vinicius. We'll see if Rodrigo stays, like, you know, for the for next season as well. We'll see what is going on with Endrick, if he's going to go on a loan or not. I heard that we're going to be taking a look into Gonzalo Garcia, but I know that a lot of other clubs are very interested in him. So we'll see what he does with the Club World Cup, because I think they're trying to use him as that Joselu profile. I don't know if it's exactly going to work, because he doesn't even look like, he looks like he's probably borderline 6 foot, maybe. And I'm not saying that like 6 foot is short in football. Obviously it's not, but that Joselu profile, I'm at least thinking like the person's going to be 6'3". Like I think Gonzalo Garcia and Jude Bellingham are probably around the same height, if I'm not mistaken. So if I look at him, Gonzalo Garcia, height. Yeah, he's only 6 foot. And Jude Bellingham is 6'1". See that? You might as well use Bellingham as your Joselu profile then. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you go and look at Budimir, let's actually look at Joselu. Joselu, it was 6'4". Budimir, 6'3". I know another name people throw around is like Muriqi. Am I pronouncing that right? Muriqi? Yo, what's up? What's up? Ala Madrid. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks for watching. 6'4". So yeah, that Gonzalo Garcia, I don't think that's the Joselu profile, unless they're okay with potentially it's not being so much of like an aerial threat, but just a traditional hold up, box, box target. Then maybe, because I do think that obviously Mbappe doesn't play like a striker. He plays pretty much like almost like a second striker, or inverted. Not inverted, but he drops back into the midfield countless amount of times. There's absolutely no threat inside the box. All three of them all just hang out outside the box. So then your wing players, bomb forward, and then the first thing that they do, they either look for the cutback or they look to cross the ball into the box, and then essentially there's no one in the box. Like we saw that against Arsenal time and time again. When we start pushing, we had no solutions down the middle because of how compact they were, and we continually kept on just bombing crosses into the box to Saliba, to Kivior, to Raya. So we definitely need a box presence, especially because we are going to eventually, not even eventually, if you already see a lot of like some of the practice footage that they released yesterday with Xabi Alonso, and you could already see that they're just working on build up. He wants to be a possession-based team. And obviously we're probably still going to hit on the counter, which is probably going to be a lot of high pressing, which will force a lot of transition attacks. But for the most part, we're going to be a possession-based team. And with that being said, even though we're going to be creating a lot of different triangles, we're still going to be hit. We're going to probably hit with more low blocks because teams are just going to sit back. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do if Mbappe just decides to sit? Obviously, with instruction, he might change. But from what I've seen from him in the national team with PSG and with us this past season, he's gonna always check to get the ball and turn forward. He doesn't like actually receiving the ball with his back towards the goal, especially the closer you get to the opposition goal. So what are we going to do in that instance, right? Like Vinicius, what is he? Vinicius is what, 5'9", and that's me being charitable. 5'9". Yeah, and you already know how that goes. Rodrigo is not 5'9". Okay, so yeah, so we have 5'9". Endrick 5'8". Endrick is not 5'8". But so you see what I'm saying? Everyone, literally, Bellingham is like our tallest attacking player at this moment, or maybe actually Tchouaméni. Let's see. Tchouaméni's 6'2". Yeah, I can actually see Tchouaméni at 6'2". Camavinga 6'1". Valverde 6 foot. Antonio Rudiger 6'3". Yeah, so I get back to my point. My entire point is I don't think Gonzalo Garcia is going to work as that aerial threat. They could just be using him as a target forward and seeing if they, if he's comfortable with playing with the ball, on his, the ball, getting the ball with his back to goal, as well as him playing on the last shoulder of the defender to get in behind a little bit more than Kylian does. But we'll see. So yeah, so we have goals per 100 touches. We have XG per 100 touches. And then if we go here, I want to see here expected goals per 90. So this is where we start seeing Patrick Schick kind of actually popping up here. So this is where, you have a case. If we do get the money, which I don't believe we will, we'll see what goes on with a lot of our sales. We haven't sold anyone at this point. I think our club, I'm not saying that we're not a good selling club, but we do have trouble getting people out of the club once they're in. In my opinion, I say we need Angelo Stiller for our new mid. I was definitely in the camp as well with the Angelo Stiller. I did release a few things on him. Let's see here. On Angelo Stiller, I wrote a little bit of a profile, did a little bit of analysis on this. And for me, I love Vitinha. If my dream signing would be to get Vitinha, because I think that he is the Modric regen. He is the replacement to Modric and everything that he does. Maybe he's not as skilled as maybe with key passes, but the metronome, the one that gets the ball ticking, he's a little bit diminutive, but he's able to get in and out, and he has excellent ball control, be able to play in tight spaces. He's press resistant. Everything great about PSG really, in my opinion, started with Vitinha and João Neves in the kind of running the thing for PSG in the back. Obviously, the pressing between Doué and Dembele and Barcola and Castilla, they get the plaudits because they're the ones scoring the goals and stuff like that. But for me, the ones that really gets the ball ticking to be able to play out of all the press that they saw was Vitinha and João Neves and what's his name? I can't believe not David Ruiz, right? David Ruiz. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Yeah. No, I am wrong. Fabian Ruiz, excuse me. So, yeah, for me, it'd be Vitinha. Angelos, and then obviously, that will never happen with PSG. After the PTSD that we gave them from, Mbappe, I can see Al-Nassr Khelaifi, Nassr Khelaifi probably hates us. But I thought Angelo Stiller would be a great, not a replacement, I think he would be a great player for us just because of how, we are stacked in the midfield. We have probably the most amount of 8s in the world. The most amount of 8s in the world, but the most quality 8s in the world. I'd say, if you have Jude, who's really an 8, he's not a 10. We have Valverde, who is, I don't even know, Valverde's probably one of the most complete midfielders in the world at this current moment. You have Tchouaméni, who can play at the 6 and the 8. And he's kind of almost in that hybrid role. I don't know, because even for France, he kind of plays an 8, or maybe even, I don't even know. He might play 8, or maybe even so more of a deep lying playmaker for France, but with an actual structure and an actual role. I think he actually plays better for France than he plays for us recently. I will say recently. This past season, just because he was chopped and changed from CDM all the way to center back, I don't think he ever had a lot of consistency or continuity with a single position. So it was kind of weird. But when he sticks as CDM and plays there consistently, I think he's top 3 in the world. Top 3, borderline top 2. He's not 3. But I definitely think that we needed a metronome. We need a metronome in there, and Camavinga can play. He's really an 8. Camavinga, I'm not too, like I said, he might improve with Xabi Alonso in his instruction. I feel like there was a lot of just freedom in that role with Carlo Ancelotti, but I think he's more of an 8. He's really more for progressive carrying rather than kind of saying central and then kind of screening over for everybody. So I think he's an 8 as well. So I thought what we needed an Angelo Stiller. And for me, I still would like it. It probably is going to be more of a luxury signing for me because of what I've seen from Dean Huijsen over the past week or so. Actually able to watch full 90s of him playing against 2 different oppositions and both quality oppositions. I think Dean Huijsen can really help us out with a lot of our progressive carrying as well as our progressive passing. And with that, with Trent coming in, and even hopefully Alvaro Carreras, everyone keeps on saying that he's in here. Everyone keeps on saying that he's pretty much signed. Is this really Benfica just holding their feet down? Apparently from the reports that I read, they kind of went against their own word. Everything was kind of set. Installment payments were supposed to be paid. He was supposed to be announced at a certain time. We were just waiting for the papers to go to the tax agencies or the tax, whatever, some government tax officials. But that never happened because then they wanted a Club World Cup bonus, something similar to what Liverpool got for Trent. And then that kind of infuriated the club. So now we're just kind of in a standstill here. The player already said that he wanted to be at the club. The club, already has agreed personal terms with KS. So then now we're all in this we're all sitting here what the heck's going on here because Benfica want to be petty and trying to get an extra 5 mil or an extra 10 mil on the deal. I know the whole situation is terrible. I think even the fact that they registered him to take him to the United States is another thing. That's whatever. But back to my point. Well, the Carreras is excellent for progressive ball carries as well as progressive passing. You have Dean Huijsen, who's excellent at both and played that at the highest level of probably the best team in the world. I think they're ranked number 1. I think if I saw that correctly, I think FIFA has ranked them number 1 or at least number 1 in Europe. And then obviously we have Trent Alexander-Arnold, probably the best passer, or at least the best mid to long range passer for a defender in the world. So that really actually was probably going to offset a lot of what Toni Kroos did. I'd say Nuno would be a little better. Oh yeah, Nuno. If we get Nuno, but that's the thing. These PSG players are they're off the board. PSG will never work with us after the whole Mbappe scandal. Like they literally sign players to try in spite of us. Just to spite us. Like it will never work. The best thing that could ever happen for us would be just to let them run down their contract. But the problem is, they have all signed contracts to 2029, 2030. So by the time you potentially will be able to get them for a free, or even on the thing is, PSG are so petty that even if they know that they're going to leave for free, they will still not sell them that year to us. They rather just let it run down, or just let it run down, try to pressure them, similar to what they did to Mbappe for that final year, rather than actually sell them to us. They won't do it. And by the time we even get that chance, they're going to be 29, 30, and then it's outside of our model again. And they have enough money that they are willing to probably just bench them. If the player tries to force a move, they'll most likely even bench them, or even send them to the youth team. Something similar they tried to do with Mbappe. I think that's why Mbappe's in court with them, except for unpaid wages. Still, but they'll just bench them, send them to the youth team, and they have enough money. They'll just go buy a replacement, because obviously their rules over there don't apply to PSG, and they have oil money. But I still like Stiller. If we can get him, it's a luxury signing. It looks like Xabi Alonso is really fixated on Zubimendi, and Zubimendi is another one of those players that I thought was excellent during the National League's tournament this past weekend. He really surprised me. I guess it really depends on where you see him, because when I watch him for Real Sociedad, it probably is just the talent that is around him. He never really stuck out. I thought he could always do a little bit more. But maybe that I'm thinking more and more about it. I'm looking kind of at the stats, looking a little bit on more of the underlying stats, and then I see him for Spain, and he really shone for Spain. In my opinion, he was their best midfielder throughout both of the games, the semis and the finals. And I don't know where that is. It's because I didn't expect his ball carrying to be that elite, but he was able just to break so many lines of pressure through his ball playing and ball progressing. But anyways, so if we go down to some of these other stats for Stiller, just because you guys brought it up, once again, progressive actions per 90. Stiller is third in the top 5 leagues under 25. You just have Vitinha up here. Obviously, Vitinha I think is kind of the standard at this point. Stiller here for progressive passes per 90. Stiller first, right above Vitinha. You guys, if you guys want to go in depth, just read this article. It's on my page. Progressive passes completed per 90 is Vitinha, and then you have Angelo Stiller. So I mean, he's right there with that player, that metronome that I think that Real Madrid needs. I think if we just get that metronome and we just get the ball just ticking, ticking triangles, boom, 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 and then we still have our threats with Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Franco Mastantuono, if Nico Paz comes back. Endrick, if he's playing, Arda Güler. I think Arda Güler is actually, I think I read a report that he's coming more back into the, he's coming back towards the, as a center mid. So he's probably going to try to be that metronome. Maybe they think that's probably the better way of going about it. It's, really kind of transforming him more into that Modric regen, rather than going to the market and having to pay 60 mil. For Budimir, because I think Stuttgart doesn't want to sell him. I know his release clause, I think, is next year. I forgot what for the price was. 26 or something like that. Or I think it was 40. I think the release clause was 40, but then Stuttgart could pay 2 million and take out that release clause. So I don't think it's going to happen. It says Arda will play right wing. I don't know about that. Let me see. I saw a report yesterday essentially saying that they want to. Okay, I guess that's not going to work. They want to make him a central mid. Let's see if I can find it. So let me show you guys this. So right here. So Real Madrid's strategy is to fully develop Arda Güler into a central midfielder. So I don't know. Take it with a grain of salt. Is ass. But For me, the closer that you can get Arda Güler to, the closer you get him towards like the opposition's goal, I think is the better. Just because of, like I said, if you start looking at his expected goals and expected assists per 90, it's great. It's actually probably one of the best on the team besides, I'll say, Mbappe. But you know, it's great. I think that he's a threat. He has a great left foot. I think he's probably has one of the best shooting techniques on the team. He places the ball where he wants to. Mbappe is more of a volume finisher. He's not exactly clinical per se. You know, he needs, like I said, he's a volume finisher. But I do think Arda Güler, for the key passes that he brings, the expected assists, expected assists to goals, everything like that. I think Arda Güler is great. But if the team needs him to be more of that metronome, if we really need help on that, progressing the ball, especially in phase 2. I definitely think, put Arda Güler back there. If you can, like, I don't even know, like, what would be your guys' favorite lineup? If we go to lineup builder, there we go. We go to lineup builder right here. Who is your starting 11? So if we go Courtois, obviously Trent. Well, not obviously, but we'll see. We'll see what's going to go on there with Carvajal. I think Carvajal is going to be eased back into the lineup. So this is the first question. Is it going to be Huijsen and Rudiger? Probably, huh? You're probably going to put Rudiger here. You're probably going to put Huijsen here. And then if all the reports are correct, it's going to be Carreras. Right there. Right? So this is where it gets tricky. We probably have to change the lineup. I honestly think we're probably going to play this. This is what I think we're actually going to play. So if the reports are true, and there's no Stiller, if the reports are true that it's not Zubimendi, and the club think that Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and Valverde are better players than Zubimendi, which I don't even agree with that, because I just feel like you're just misprofiling so many of these players. Like, what does that even mean? If you just even look at the underlying stats, here. I don't even want to do this, but I think we just got to be honest here. So right, passes per 90. Kimmich, Vitinha, Stiller's here too. If we go to ball carrying, progressive carries per 90, and not limb, actually, just change this. Let's go to U26. No progressive carries per. Dribbles attempted. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even think. I think it's just a complete misprofile of our players. For what we're bringing Zubimendi in for, it's not. None of our players can really replicate that as of now. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen it yet. Maybe they can. Maybe with proper instruction and and a tactical overshift, maybe they can. But I do believe that Alonso wants that passing midfielder, and I don't know if we have it. I think Tchouaméni has aspects of it, because you see it with the French national team. Jude can do a role, but that's not his main role, right? That's not his strengths, in my opinion. Valverde, same thing. Valverde can do a role, but we've all kind of seen Ancelotti try to do that Cruz role with all three of them, and it didn't work. Camavinga, I do think he still needs a little bit of polishing, and I think that's more so just with instruction. I think both of those players, Tchouaméni and Camavinga, really needed those well-defined roles within the squad, rather than like a lot of the tactical freedom, to where like a lot of them, they didn't know when to go. Like, one would go, and then one wouldn't stay or one would say they would both stay. I just think like with Alonso, because like I said, he's going to have a plan. He has a way of playing. He has a system. Once they have those well-defined roles, I think we're going to see a lot of these players actually kind of maximize a lot of their strengths. But in the moment, I just don't think the player that they're trying to get, a player, it's like a Vitinha, a player with pausa, with control, like a Modric or Cruz, like the relevant players now, like Vitinha, like an Angelo Stiller or Zubamendi. I don't think that we have that profile in the midfield as of now. But I also can see that sometimes you don't have to sign a like for like. You can create a system, or you can have tactics where multiple players can actually pitch into that, ball progression, or the progressive carry, or line breaking passes, or key passes. So I think in the case, I think what the club are going to try to do, and try to see if they can replicate it in the Club World Cup, is having Huijsen, having Trent. Carreras, we'll see if we can get him after the round of 16, and using those players to pretty much facilitate a lot of the ball progression. I think you saw like Dean Howson being able to like break lines of pressure just from being able to push through like lines of pressure. This is a progressive carry that ball through the lines of pressure. Trent can do that. Trent can invert into the midfield and be able to hit that long diagonal ball, setting up those 1v1 isolations for Vinny and Mbappe or Rodrigo or whoever is going to be in the front line. There's that too. Carreras can do the same thing. He's a great long diagonal pass as well. He's excellent with ball progression as well. So you have the defenders. We now have the profile of defenders to really kind of facilitate a lot of that progression that we kind of lacked last season. I'm not saying Rudiger can't do that, but that's not his strength. Fran Garcia can do it, but he's a little frenetic. Mendy can't play. Vasquez just is not. That's not his part of his game. He's more of like a 1v1, or he used to be more of those 1v1 wingers who can go to the byline and cross it or cut back. Asensio or Rudiger are destroyed there as a must because it covers Trent going up. I believe that 100% as well. You definitely have to have him. And that's where the problem lies. If we go back here, so say that we're not going to get Stiller, say we're not going to get Vitinha, even though there was a report of a secret signing. I don't know who that may be. I don't know if that was, it's so crazy. You can't listen to a lot of these trades. Like half the time they're right, other half the time it's just for clicks. I don't even know if that's even true, if that's secret signing, but also who do we know? If Real Madrid has a secret signing, we'll never know until it actually happens. But Franco Macedonia will join Real Madrid. I'm calling it. Oh, I think we already got the here we go. I think he already signed. I think at this point, I think they're just kind of going over trying to figure out if he's going to come right now or in August, I don't even think it's happening in December. I think it's August. I think he really wants to play the Club World Cup and finish the Copa Libertadores with River Plate. So I think isn't the deadline is in a few hours, right? So another thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm kind of all over the place here, is like what's going on with Nico Paz. I haven't seen anything about Nico Paz. They keep on saying that they're going to speak to the representatives. They keep on saying that Xabi Alonso needs to speak to them. But shouldn't that happen sooner rather than later? I have to assume at this point that he's not going to make it for the Club World Cup. Oh shit. I don't know. Kiko Bamba. Rodrigo to leave Real Madrid this season. Franco joining was a key factor for him to be sold. Now that the Argentinian is here, the club and the player are ready to part ways. According to my sources, Rodrigo will be an Arsenal player very soon. There's another possible club, but Arsenal is more than likely the one. Really sticking to my neck out here, but this one is 90% done. I called it. I called this. I called this. I knew as soon as because I kept on saying that his bomb. Well, let me see. Let's see if he tweets too much, so I'm not going to go back and find it. I won't find it in time for this stream. But he kept on saying like he would use certain phrases so that I knew that, okay, his bomb is the fact that someone's leaving, and he would never respond or interact with any of my posts. I was like, okay, it's for sure because someone's leaving, and it's Rodrigo. And in the case like this, I'm not happy that Rodrigo's leaving. I actually think that we're actually a little light on attackers because Franco Mastantuono he's a center mid. He can be an attacker, but he's a center mid. We at this point now in the club, we only have Mbappe, we have Vinicius, If Rodrigo leaves, he leaves. And Endrick. Unless we're going to start playing midfielders up front. But what happens if Mbappe or Vinicius get injured? We have one striker. Unless I'm missing someone. You guys enlighten me if I'm missing somebody. Unless, like, we're going to be keeping Gonzalo Garcia. And to be honest, if you guys don't believe him, this guy has been on it for the Trent. He said that Trent was leaving well before a lot of these other big trades said it. He said the Franco signing well before these other trades said it. I think he even said Huijsen too. So he's 3 for 3 right now. So let's see if he's going to be 4 for 4. But I'm going to say that this guy he's on it. So if you guys don't know him, if you follow him, Kiko Suarez. I think he's a content creator. I think he also works for a company that works for Real Madrid. So I would take this. This has some weight on it. Rodrigo. It looks like Rodrigo's leaving. I saw it coming, especially with Real Madrid. When it comes to Real Madrid, for me, stuff like this, like where there's smoke, there's fire. And Rodrigo kind of has been doing this for the past like 2 years. Lunin kind of does it as well. And that's why I was like, let's go get Joan Garcia. Lunin, I respect Lunin for everything that he's done for the club, especially that last Champions League title run. I thought he was really good. He really stepped up a lot. But every single year, it's always like, oh, he's thinking about leaving. He's thinking about leaving. He's thinking about leaving. So I can't tell if that's just because he wants a better contract renewal or if he's actually interested. And for me, that gets annoying. And I would have to think that it gets annoying for the club as well. Rodrigo, every single year, it's like he's unhappy with the right. But unfortunately, if you look at his stats, you could say his stats actually show that he shouldn't even be starting. Like, I think this is probably his worst year. It's time to bring Gyökeres. That would be a secret signing. That would be a secret signing if we get Gyökeres. I don't think it would work because I think that, like, unless you completely change the system and you have Gyökeres go and play as obviously the target, the target 9, you move Mbappe to the right, or you put Vinicius on the left. That's the only way it would work. But I don't believe that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, honestly. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's going to be a video in it of itself. Like, what are we going to do now? If you go get, because it's going to take about 90 million, right? It's going to take about 90 million for a club to be able to take Rodrigo, maybe 80 plus. Oh, this is Liverpool. I'm gonna retweet this. You know what? No. Yeah, I do think it is Liverpool, or obviously it's Arsenal, but it's Liverpool or Arsenal. I think Liverpool, what they're trying to do, if they can sell Diaz, and they can sell Nunez, one of the two. I think Nunez was linked to a move to Al Hilal or a club in Saudi. If they get that like 70 mil that they're asking, they're gonna go get Rodrigo. Please don't send them to Liverpool. Don't send Rodrigo to Liverpool, please. And I think I saw a report that said Hugo Ekitike is really interested in going to his priority is going to Liverpool. So Liverpool has a team. Liverpool is assembling an Avenger team. But yeah, I mean, I saw this a mile away. I've tweeted multiple times, where there's smoke, there's fire. And in this case, there was too much news coming from his entourage. Like, it was weird that he didn't show up for the Brazil. He didn't play the last El Clasico, and we never actually got a medical report for Rodrigo. Like usually, like when someone gets injured, there's a medical report that Real Madrid puts out to talk about his injury, but this one it didn't really happen. There's a lot of ambiguity and murkiness around what's going on with Rodrigo. So I had to assume that he's actually leaving. He's actually looking for a move out, because the thing is, like, he's not going to get his position, especially at this club. You know, it's actually going to be sad. Like, I think that once he actually leaves and it's known, I think a lot of people are going to really appreciate him. You know, it sucks to be the odd one out, and he continually tried to be like, yeah, don't forget the R. And I do appreciate him. You know, we'll always remember that Man City double that literally got us the 14th. But yeah, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck, and we're losing a huge player, a huge talent. And I was on board to sell him before, but now, not even now, but like recently, I'm thinking about it, and it's like, we're actually thin up top, and who are we going to bring in? My future Real Madrid transfer, I could tell you who I want. I can show you too. I want this player. I want Nico Schlotterbeck. I want this defender. We can just take a quick look at this. I don't know if you guys can see. Let me break this up. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Look at this. Progressive passes per 90. Under 25, top 5 leagues in the world. Nico Schlotterbeck, 14.66. Progressive passes, 11.82. Forward passes completed per 90. Second. Scatter plot analysis, elite positioning. Forward passes per 90, progressive passes per 90 per minutes played. Look at him. He's on an island. He is on an island. Progressive passes first. Progressive passes completed first. Forward passes second. Passes attempt 99th percentile. Pass completion 91st percentile. Shot creating actions per 90, 98th percentile. In European ranking under 25 center backs. This is absurd. This is absurd. And look, annual salary, not too much. His duration to the 2027. Apparently, we were going in for him last year, and then I think he had some ligament damage to his knee. Was it his knee or was his ankle? One of the two. So we kind of, we moved off it a little bit, obviously for him to get back into shape and all that stuff. But if you look here, like they actually are in contract negotiation right now. That's why we really need to step on this 5-year extension for 2030, 10 million annually. Vice captaincy, post injury recovery completion. But if you look at some of the players that he is, comparative analysis, if you look at here, Josko Gvardiol is 90 mil, Fofana 80 mil, Saliba, obviously this isn't exactly true. This is back in 2019. But this is going to cost us 100 mil. I think for him, we could potentially get him probably for around 60 mil. Get him for 60 mil. And look at this back line. This is the back line for the future. Could you imagine a back line like this? Sorry, I'm gonna edit this just so you guys can see this. Let's switch. Because Huijsen's right-footed, we can play left. He is left-footed, left-footed. Boom. You don't need a metronome anymore. All 4 of these players have some of the best ball progression stats in the world for defenders. I think they're all 90th percentile, if not 95th. I think he brings it down a little bit more. But still, you don't need that metronome because all of these guys can literally just step into the midfield. And then you can put your Tchouaméni here. Then you put your Valverde. Put Jude here. Or you can put Jude here at an 8. You can put Arda here. You put Mbappe. And then you put Vinicius. Look at that lineup. Am I not cooking with this? I think I'm cooking with this, guys. Look at this. Look at that lineup. That is a ridiculous lineup. I think the only thing that you would potentially need in this lineup is you're a little short up top for the amount of crosses that you'll get probably from any of these positions. At this point, you have long ball threat, 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 long ball threat. So you literally have your back seven all being able to hit that long diagonal at any time or be able to progressive carry through lines of pressure. Great at ball carrying, great at ball carrying, great at ball carrying, key passes, and a threat from anywhere outside the box on his left foot. Progressive carry, progressive pass, progressive pass, progressive carry. Same, you know, I can, this team, this is the team. This is my dream team. Yeah, so that would be my first signing. That would be my first dream signing. I love Stiller. Like I said, I have a whole thing here about Stiller, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. For whatever reason, maybe next year, maybe when there's a release clause and Real Madrid doesn't have to, but with the sale of Rodrigo, anything can happen at this point, you know. I also was interested in Hincapié. I thought Hincapié would be another good signing just because he's left-footed and he can play left back and left center back role. He's a little bit more how can I say this? A little bit more aggressive. He's almost like an Asensio type. He's a little bit more aggressive, while these other ones I think are a little bit more technical in their approach. But I thought he would be a great addition, especially with Carreras. I think we probably, to be honest, like Fran and Mendy probably are not at the level anymore. Mendy definitely not, just because he's injury prone. He has a chronic injury that's always going to pop up. He's not going to leave, obviously, because he's making making great wages. Fran, I appreciate Fran for everything that he's done, but I don't believe he's at Real Madrid quality. At best, he's off the bench. At best, and even then, I think we can have better off the bench options like Carreras, and if you get Hincapié, you can put Hincapié there too. I'm not about Theo Hernandez at all. Theo Hernandez is not a Real Madrid player anymore, especially with his off the field cases. There's a reason why Milan is trying to sell him. So there's that. But other than that, yeah. So my signings would be Nico Schlotterbeck, Pierre Hincapié, Budimir. Give me Budimir. I don't know if I can even show you. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. This is probably going to get me pulled. Hold on. I saved you guys a video. It probably will get me pulled, but we move. I'm gonna have to pause it quite a bit. But you just see like the aerial threat. Like if you have players like Carreras, you have players like Trent, like Huijsen, who can play a ball into the box. Elite mid to long range passing, crosses as well. And then you have someone here who has some of the best expected goals, goals per 90, touches per 90, goals per 90, all of that stuff. You'd only get called in probably 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes of a game we can't break down. Or if we know we're playing against some giants that we're going to low block like a Tafe, or they're going to sit back in a low block, just put him in, have him as a target striker, have Mbappe play back, or, play off him as the second striker, or even have both Vinicius and Mbappe and take out a midfielder if you're going to have possession anyways. And then you have a player of his quality, 6'3", 6'4", excellent at heading goals. Goal. I don't know. So hopefully you guys can see what I'm trying to say here. But let's see. Let me run through some of this stuff really quick. Only happens at FC don't go through with words. No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so, actually. I think they have enough money. You know, I'll type this later. But what I'm trying to say is I don't actually believe so. I believe that right now Liverpool didn't spend last year. They didn't spend last year. They won the league. And then they won the league. They did well. They have Champions League money right now. So they have a war chest. And they obviously, you know, they're a Premier League team. They're a Premier League team who gets all the money from the Premier League TV rights. They didn't spend anything last year. They won the league. And they pretty much did really well in the Champions League. They did all right in the Champions League. So they have a lot of money. So I'd have to say they probably have around at least 200 mil to spend. They know that they're going to get money for Nunes. Like, Nunes is out. Like, he's already taken he's taking out Liverpool from his socials and stuff. So, like, and he's already did a goodbye message. People know that he's going to Saudi. So they're going to get at least 60 to 70 million off of that. That right there is already 90% of what we're probably going to ask. The Verts deal is independent of this Rodrigo deal because they, like I said, they didn't spend anything last year. They didn't spend anything. You know, they got 10 mil for Trent too. So, in my opinion, I think it's Liverpool. I think Arsenal is probably first, but Arsenal, for whatever reason, they just can't get signings across. I don't know what it is. I don't know what their club is thinking they're doing. You know what's funny enough? Arsenal is probably going to be second or third again this year. You know? They're going to be second or third this year. Like, do you see the signings that Man City are pulling off? Man City signed Aiton Nori. They've signed Reinders, Tijani Reinders, who absolutely torched us last year. Ryan Cherokee. They got those three already. And they're trying to get Livramento, who I'd probably say is like a top three right back. A top three right back in the EPL. So look at that lineup. Just so you guys see. Look at this lineup before I leave it. Before I leave. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. This is a fire lineup. Hopefully it happens. But if you look at Man City's lineup, just real quick, we'll go through this really quick. I think it's still Ederson. I don't think they're able to sell him. So you have Ederson there. If you get Livramento, just real quick, this will grow. Real quick. We'll get back to Real Madrid stuff. Ruben Diaz. Guardiol. Did I say that right? There we go. Then Nuri. How do you spell that? Nuri. You have Rodri. Reinders. That is not. I did not spell that correctly. There you go. Oh, because you still have Marmouche. You have Marmouche? Would it be like Foden? Or Savinho? Foden or Savinho? You still have Holland? Oh. Hello? Am I stupid? Obviously, play around with the lineup. I don't really care, but still, look at that lineup. Something to that effect, essentially. That's a solid lineup. So that's back to my point about like essentially Arsenal are not doing anything. They're getting Benjamin Sesko, who's Benjamin Sesko? Like I think he scored like 13 goals last year for RB Leipzig, like 13 goals instead of getting Gyökeres. I don't know what's going on with Gyökeres also, because everyone is going for other players other than Gyökeres, and a lot of people think it's because of Nunes, the Nunes tax. Like he was like the highest goal scorer in the Portuguese league, and then now he's done terribly at Liverpool. But to be honest, I think Real Madrid would be even better if I don't know, dude. I feel like this is gonna get me in trouble, but F it, I'm gonna say it. I'm going to say it. Even if we play a 4-3-3. ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? There you go. Even if we play a 4-3, if we had a target man here, and if you wanted to have Mbappe, like you could move Mbappe over here. Move Mbappe here. Put Vinicius here. Give Mbappe the wings. Right? And mind you, Mbappe's not going to stay here. He's going to be floating around wherever he wants. So this is just for the sake of the formation. And if you get, say you even get this. Say you get that. What is stopping that team? No one. No one is stopping this front three. He actually likes to be in the box. He gets the channels to run into and pretty much float anywhere he wants. He gets his isolations. Oh, my bad. My bad. There you go. If you get this, he's your box presence for all the crosses that you're going to get from Trent. So let's here. Go here. Go Rudiger. Go Huijsen. Carreras. And then you guys just tell me the mid. I don't really care for the mid, but here it's just let's just say that this is our mid. Jude. Okay. Look at this. And obviously Courtois, you guys know it's Courtois. So if you have a box presence, right? Say it's more like this. I'm assuming it'd be something closer to this, but whatever. You have Trent inverting, right? Cross into the box, Gyökeres, right? Plays the ball in behind for Mbappe to run this channel and to get in behind. So much so that you saw from Salah. Mbappe can go kind of anywhere. This would, he's going to be a free roll in this lineup. You have Trent still bombing forward here, right? You have Jude crashing the box as well, because Jude is always like a second striker, or he played that, he's an attacking midfielder that can crash the box. Trent plays the ball over the top, Bellingham back post. Or you have Vinicius isolated on this left side, long ball Vinicius, isolated 1v1s that Vinicius loves to take on, takes him to the byline, cuts back, Gyökeres finish. Mbappe back post finish. Like, I think the big thing for us right now is because we don't have a box presence. And obviously that can change with Alonso, with, it can change with Alonso, but essentially he still wants a striker. Alonso still wants a striker because he has Patrick Schick. He had Schick up there as well. He had Victor Boniface up there as well. Because at this point, what teams know is that if we don't have this player, right, and say we'll switch him for another midfielder, right? Say if we have Arda Güler. There you go. We have Arda Güler that's probably going to play here, and then you have these two. The problem is, both our players like hanging up here. So your crosses are going to go to no one. Right? So then if you have a low block, they're all sitting right here, all occupying the same space. How are we breaking this down? No, yeah, I get it. Historically, we went for technical strikers since we turned them down. Kane, I'm convinced we won't go for a typical striker anytime soon. Yeah and no. Like I agree with you that historically we don't. We go for technical strikers, and I don't believe there is a single Benzema replacement. I'm not a like for like, but someone even close to that. I think Benzema was the perfect striker for Real Madrid. Perfect striker. But I think I saw reports. There's so many reports that are coming out. It's hard to keep them. keep up with all of them. But Alonso said that he still wants a midfielder and he wants a striker. So I have to take that into consideration. The club has to understand. Like, they watched the game with us too, right? Like, we weren't watching this in isolation. They have to know that we have no box threat. There's no box threat, so we get stuck with low blocks. We can hardly break down low blocks unless we have like a creator like Arda Güler here. Now we have Franco Mastantuono is going to be in here. We'll see if Nico Paz comes back. But Nico Paz, he has a different kind of. I'm a little hesitant on Nico Paz. I think he needs another season. And mind you, I haven't seen a lot of Franco yet. But from what I've seen, he can play on the right. He can play on the right. I think Nico Paz really needs to play as a CM. Or attacking mid, a central attacking mid. From everything that I've seen from him, I have not seen him too effectual or too effective when he's off the ball. Even when I was watching him with Argentina this past week, like, he didn't do much unless he was on the ball. And on a team like that, where you're probably the youngest player besides Franco, you are not going to be the main playmaker. So I think he needs another loan, in my opinion. And we already have Arda Güler to fill that role, and I can see why he's hesitant to come back, because they just signed Franco. At the point where he's making this decision, Rodrigo would probably fill into the central role before him, and then you still have Arda Güler. So we'll see, but we definitely need a forward, and if we can get a value. If we can just get a value or an efficient signing for a forward, to be honest, I want you guys in the chat. Let me know. I don't see the reason why we just don't get Budimir. You know, I'm gonna steal a phrase. He's La Liga proven. He's La Liga proven. He knows the league. He can speak Spanish. He scores 20 plus goals a season for Osasuna. There's your profile. No? That's your Joselu profile. If anything, get him on loan. Get him on loan. Maybe send some more Castilla players there. Say we'll have an agreement. We will loan you our Castilla players. You know, we will sell you. You have first option for our Castilla players. You know, buyback option. You know. I think like it's such a no-brainer just to get Budimir. It's a no-brainer. At least to me. But like I said, the club probably are working behind the scenes. Like, it's already been up. It's up in a few publications already. It doesn't just come up out of nowhere, right? Budimir, the name Budimir doesn't come up out of nowhere. They're probably working on it in the background. They're probably just waiting for this Club World Cup to really, just like even for the Franco deal. The Franco deal was not going to get done until PSG were like at 90% of the way done, and that it forced Real Madrid's hand. It seems that Real Madrid are we're very cautious in the way that we spend money. We're pretty frugal. We're going to take our time. We're going to try to explore the best possible options for us as a club, because we have to be careful, because we don't have the same TV rights as a lot of these other clubs. Especially the EPL clubs. The EPL clubs, they operate at a loss. They just buy. They thinking that the TV rights are going to continually go up, so we'll eventually be good. They'll just buy. Their league rules are less strict, less strict than ours. Ours is like we have to be 1 for 1 essentially. That's why Barcelona are in the gutter every single year, and they'll lie about signings for their fans. But I think they're probably working on it. They're waiting for the Club World Cup to see how Gonzalo Garcia does. We'll see how he does. He's only 6 foot. I don't know how much of an aerial presence that is. We have taller players in our squad already, and we still are having trouble locking that down, breaking down low blocks. So we'll see. I think it's going to be Budimir. The midfielder, we'll see if it's the Zubimendi. A lot of reports are coming out that essentially it's like a done deal. There are things in place to where he has to go. I don't know if he can U-turn it, and if he does U-turn it, it's going to take a lot of work. The club is putting out statements saying that they believe it's only Kama, Chua, and Valverde. And I don't think we're going to have any kind of clarity until the Club World Cup. And I think the reason why they're doing that, I'll address that comment. But I think the reason they're doing that, like I said, is because from the reports, is that from the reports I read is that Real Sociedad are essentially waiting till July 1st because June 30th is the end of the fiscal year. For a lot of companies, I'm not sure about other countries, but at least here in America, June 30th is usually the end of the fiscal year, and they get a new budget approval and budget approved so they can go on those books so that everything looks healthy, right? So I heard that they're waiting till the 1st. That's why the signing, which has been done by it's been done by like last December, like they're just waiting till the 1st to really announce it. So it's better on the books, I think, for both parties. So that gives us enough time. Well, not really. Well, it gives us up until I think the round of 16, essentially. You have until like the round of 16 to then make a decision on if you're really going to move for Zubimendi. I think we should get him. I think he fits, but we'll see. My issue with your proposed formation is that Javi never played a single pivot in his career. The many variations of the team for relied on a double pivot. Yeah, no, I agree with you. But I will also say that he is very adaptable, and with the current players that we have, and this is not even like technically this is my formation, but I mean, if you really want to do a double pivot, like, I mean, on paper, you can essentially do something like this if you really want to. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure. I want to see, like, you know, we can all put out formations. We don't know exactly how Xabi Alonso is going to play until we actually see it. You know, a lot of these players are still on international break. A lot of these players, you know, are still playing, you know, with their teams or on the vacation and stuff. I know the first day was yesterday. I think they're training possibly right about now. We'll see what's going to happen. I'm really intrigued with this Rodrigo news. It has not come out anywhere else. So he's really putting his neck out here. What? Yeah, he's really putting his neck out here with this Bamba. So we'll see. So yeah, that presentation was really short. I'm going to be honest. I was expecting a little bit more, but you know, he's young. I would probably be nervous as well. But I'm excited that he's officially presented as a Real Madrid player. I thought he did exceptionally well at the at the Nations League, excuse me. Even though they did ship a lot of goals to France and to Portugal, I don't think it was him. I think actually Leyton Mardo was probably the worst player on that back line. Him and Mingueza and Vivian, yikes, that was a horror show. But I thought he's great. I think he's going to do a great job for Real Madrid. I think we really got a gem for the next decade, in my opinion. We'll see what's going to go on with Rudiger. I know Rudiger is slowly coming back from injury, so it might be Asensio that actually fills in this position at the beginning. So I could probably see us with this kind of lineup. Oh my god, this thing is great. There you go. We probably, oh my god, we're going. I like Fran, but I'm really disappointed. I would say probably the biggest thing I'm disappointed on so far about Real Madrid is the fact is that we cannot get this Carreras deal over the line. This is such a problem for us. And Carreras is going to fill that. I actually want to check really quick. Didn't Carreras win? Isn't he in the team of the year for the Portuguese league? Does anyone know that? Oh, he is. Let me show you guys. Look at that. Carreras. Trincao, Gyökeres, Pavlidis. I can't say that. Hodgman, Thiago Silva, Carreras, Ignacio, Otamendi. Otamendi's still playing? Damn. Diomande and Diogo Costa. So yeah. All right, guys. I think that's the end of the stream. It is early. It is 5 a.m. for me now. So I'm either going to go to bed or I'm going to do some research. Maybe I'm probably going to record a video. Thank you everybody so much for watching the stream. This is good. It's a great day to be a Madridista, guys. A great day. The GOAT, Ronaldo, got another international trophy with Portugal. Portugal and Inter have saved football from the insane Barca PR. The craziest PR I've ever seen. And like, I don't even know if this PR, I think this is stronger PR than even with Messi. At least with Messi, it was questionable. You know, this is not even questionable. 9 league goals, right? Wasn't even player of the season. Wasn't player of the season for La Liga, right? Didn't win the Champions League. And then they're pushing him for Ballon d'Or. It's crazy. When you have Dembele literally has the treble, the actual treble, not the fake domestic treble that the media are trying to give to Barcelona fans after they had they bombed out of the Champions League. Absolutely crazy PR. It's actually kind of disgusting. It's disgusting. And then even then, they're trying to say that he had a great match in the final, as if we didn't see him getting pocketed by Nuno Mensch the entire game. He was pocketed so bad by Nuno Mensch that Nuno Mensch took his chain. If you guys have ever heard that analysis, or that analogy, he literally took his chain so much so that he was afraid to take him on. Instead, what he ended up doing, he just started playing it back. He started playing it back because he took his confidence. Decided that he just wanted to play the ball back, was getting pressed by our midfield. I think Roberto Martinez did an excellent job creating a box around Lamine Yamal. At any possible time, he did not give him that isolated 1v1. Even if he did, there was Nuno Mensch there. But then you still had Bruno Fernandes right there as well as you had the left center back right there to help assist. So yeah, they pretty much stopped Lamine Yamal. Most of the progressive actions came from actually Nico Williams on the other side. He was a menace. I don't know how no one has picked Nico Williams up. Maybe because his wages are super high. And obviously, he has an affinity for the club, but still, that is a player. He is a player. I'm surprised that no one has picked him up yet, but regardless. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna try to do this a little bit more daily. I know we're for sure gonna be doing the Trent one. There's a lot of news coming up, so maybe I'll probably go back to my daily news because there's just so much news to cover at almost all hours of the time. Sometimes I get up super early because I live in the States to get the news as soon as it comes out. It usually comes out around 3 o'clock my time, so I'm usually up by 4 o'clock anyways. But I'll try to do the daily one. I'll for sure do the Trent presentation. We'll see how good his Spanish is on that. I don't think Franco is Franco's not an official one yet. We haven't gotten the comunicado oficial yet because he's still going to be playing. It's still up in the air what we're doing. That if there's any Nico Paz stuff, there will be a video up for that as well. But anyways, this is a little bit long-winded. Thank you guys so much for watching the stream. It's been great.